Okay, everyone, time to share poems. No one looks very excited at the prospect today. I don't know, Yuri looks like she's doing alright. Who wants to go first? I thought today we might read each poem together as a group. I'll go first. The group passes Yuri's poem around as she self-consciously, there's a second S here, fiddles with her hair. Dilated Articles. Pardon me. Has your heart ever ached for another world? Has it been overwrought by unattainable beauty and poignance? I stand on the threshold. Is it a whirling abyss beyond? Or is it just a thin line, a border on a map, but laid plain on the ground before my feet? 1 foot over, I stand half illuminated, half shrouded. Okay. What could be is greater than what actually is, and what is must then fade before all that never was, like a planet lost in the glare of 1 or 1 billion suns. A motive is drowned in a vast sea of could and might. Who would not wish to swim in that sea? Who once knew it, even if they were themselves almost nothing at all? A mote of a mote. But the world has strange chances, and it may be that your note, or your boat, is the treasured part of someone's sea, and your sea, though vast, may itself be compassed. So swim where you may, joyfully if you can, ache joyfully if you can, for what is your own, though it be bound to the scope of these dilated articles. Thank you, Harry. That was very pretentious. I think I understand. The imagery is wonderful, as usual from you, and the sentiment is a very pleasant one. Overall, I'd say the poem makes me feel envious, I think. Natsuki, what did you think? Well, I still think it's too wordy. It uses a really complicated metaphor to explain something really simple, and all the $5 words you make you strain to see what she's getting at. But I think it's really good, much as it pains me to admit it. This is definitely my favorite poem of Yuri's. It's great. You really like it that much? Of course I do, you big dummy. This is amazing work. There are even things in here that I wish I had ripped off from my own poem. Thanks, Natsuki. That really means a lot to me. Your poem made me feel really fuzzy and cozy. Thank you, Sayori. Is that it? Yup. My gratitude for the feedback, then. MC, do you have any feedback for Yuri? Well, MC fiddles with his own poem and looks around at the room. I'm, not sure that I do, actually. I'm not really smart enough to criticize a Yuri poem. Plus, to be completely honest, my brain isn't working really well at all right now because I'm dreading it being my turn to share. That's okay, MC. It's normal to feel a certain degree of stage fright when sharing your work publicly. Tell me what you thought about it later if you like. Sure thing. Who's next to share? I'll go next. Go easy on me though, okay? Each member of the club in turn quietly reads Monica's poem. Let me take a little drink before I get in this one. Nice! Down the oubliette, back to my old familiar home. I have all the comforts and I can settle in. But wait, a change! They've turned down the temperature, showed me in, locked me in ice. Ice is peaceful. You barely notice as it slowly constricts your limbs. Ice is beautiful. You see blue, white, clear through it, and see exactly what it is doing to you. Ice is cold, and it makes you beautiful and peaceful and cold. In my room of rhyme, amidst all my familiar comforts, I smiled happily and drank my tea and nibbled my cakes, heedless of the encroaching ice, encasing my hands, my eyes, my heart, until at last it freezes the pen in my hand, freezes the ink on the page, freezes this poem as it flows. It was ice. Sorry, I know it's a bit much. Compared to Yuri's, no. But it's supposed to communicate how you really feel, right? I think it does that really well. The oppressive feeling of it really comes across. That's very much what I was going for. Oh, I guess you meant weight, not volume. Yeah, that's fine. I think it's terrifying. The juxtaposition of the familiar and comfortable with the alien and invasive. Exceptional. You guys are way better at this than I am. I'm pretty dumb with this kind of stuff. I can't even find the words to describe your guys' work. It's okay, MC, I got your back. It's like that "this is fine" burning meme, but it's ice instead. A good way to try to get across what a poem does for you is describe how it feels to you. How do these poems make you feel? Well, those are different questions, I guess. I'm having a hard time feeling anything myself right now because I'm pretty distracted with anxiety. Yuri nods.
But Monika's poem and yours both have very particular feels to them, I guess. You're right, your poems always feel ponderous and thick, like they're underwater, and they feel old and ancient somehow.
Yeah, like some ancient, wise creature you go to for advice for your quest in a movie.
Not exactly how I'd put it, but yeah. Now, Monika's poems feel springy and crisp. They have a rhythm to them that reminds me of, like, a storyteller dramatically telling a story to young children with dramatic pauses. Part of it is the way she uses the page. Monika really likes to use spacing and indentation to convey the speed and rhythm she wants you to read the lines inside your head. Could probably have left out that at. I don't know. Punctuation, too. She's very good at using the right punctuation mark for the right sense. It keeps her poems very crisp, to use your phrasing. Well, still a little bit beyond me and my level of experience. But that was really good, Monika. Thanks, everybody. Who'd like to go next?
I think I'm ready to show mine now.
Siri passes her poem around the room. It's going around.
I woke up feeling pretty sick this morning. Sniffles and some coughing. It's no fun. And as I rise, my body screams a warning that my affliction has just begun. They assure me I should share the burden. A problem shared is a problem halved, they say. But can they really understand for certain the length of time the malady may stay? I see she's been diseased for longer. This bug is really pretty tough to shake. Involuntarily, I made my witness to what might be our single settled fate.
Yeah.
But I press forward and open wounds upon them. On their own advice, I smear the thickness in. But illness shared is illness multiplied. I hope they'll all be well one day again.
Oh, Sayori.
Hey, real quick. Don't go freaking out on me. It's only poetry.
Siri grins widely.
So don't read too much into it, okay? It's just an outlet.
Isn't that like the whole point of poetry, that you're supposed to read into it?
Well, it definitely gets its point across. One of the things I always admire about your poetry is how brutally authentic it is. It's very... stark. That's a good way to put it. Indeed. Sayori's poetry is adept at the blending of joy and despair. And the effect is trebled because we know Sayori so well. When Sayori's writing delves into the very dark, it's like being unable to look away from an open, bleeding wound. It's horrifying, and you want desperately to stop looking to spare yourself the pain of feeling what the author is conveying. But you can't. It forces you into that perspective, so that you can feel the author's pain, or their terror.
Hey! Everyone turns to look at Natsuki.
She just said not to read too much into it!
And now we're talking about how a poem lets us see things that are really awful and painful in her! It's just an outlet, like she said, but now we're making it about her. Instead of the poem, it's making her uncomfortable. Just because you paint a picture of something gory doesn't mean you're a violent person. And just because Sayori wrote a sad poem about what happened doesn't necessarily mean she's in horrible pain. Or even if she is, that doesn't mean that she wants us to talk about it. Her poem deserves to be judged by its own merits rather than what we're projecting onto her. And I think it's strong, if a little scary. And so we don't need to be constantly making Sayori feel self-conscious by talking about how awful she must feel.
I didn't mean anything like that. I just got lost in the beauty of it. I'm really sorry if I made you feel bad, Sayori. Hey, don't feel bad. I'm really glad you liked it. I mean, obviously I'm not saying I wasn't feeling at least a little bit sad when I wrote this. Just, I don't want to have everyone freak out about it if I write about sad stuff. Natsuki's right about that. Last thing I want is to have you guys all worried about me. I'm fine, really.
So, MC, what about you? Do you have any thoughts about what's said?
No, he doesn't! He's still too worried about his own poem to talk about mine.
She's right. Well then, that means that it's your turn to show your poem now, MC. Or you, Natsuki, you're the only two left. Whoever wants to go first. Oh, yes. Dots. I challenge you to rock, paper, scissors. You fool! You've sealed your fate! Don't be so cocky. I have a few tricks up my sleeve. Well, 3 tricks to be exact. That joke is inexcusable. Expect no mercy from me now. We go on 3. 1, 2, 3! Both of them show rock. I see you're a man of tactical sophistication. Don't underestimate me. This isn't even my final technique. What?
Not now, Monika. MC's might show off his ultimate move.
1, 2, 3! MC shows scissors. Natsuki shows rock. What? How?
You were a worthy opponent. I had used my most secret power to defeat you, but in the end, no one ever expects double rock. I guess that means you go first, MC.
I can't believe Scissors lost. I have a request for my poem.
Yeah, what's that?
So, my poem is about Sayori, and it would be really embarrassing to share it while she's here. Would it be okay if,
Oh, I'll be right back. I need to go to the girls' room. Like, right now. Again. Didn't you just go?
Thank you.
I forgot something! Looks like the coast is clear, MC.
MC nervously hands over his poem. Thank you for not making it just 20 words for the meme. Dead eyes. Eyes that used to smile. Voice that used to cheer. I close the door and I'll be numb again with fear. Her eyes are fixed and sad. This is what she wanted. Is this all that we had? She just stares down, rotted. Her voice won't be heard again. My mind sputters aimlessly. If I somehow got her back, her crushed chords can't talk to me. What to do when your heart's ripped out, but then crudely sewn back inside? Could you live your life without doubt? Would your fear of the pain make you hide? Like I've burned my hand on a hot stove. I see her and remember the pain. But I smile and sear my hands to the bone. Only loss can teach you what you can gain.
Well, not only is your poem about Sayori, your poems are definitely more and more influenced by Sayori's style.
You really think so? To be honest, Sayori's poems always affected me the most, so I guess it makes sense I'd try to write like her.
Oh yes, it's got that same feeling of commingling all the warm fuzzies with the worst, most horrifying despair you can think of. How did you write this poem, MC? What was your process?
Well, I sat down to write it, and I just wrote the first 4 lines really quickly. They just happened without me thinking much. After that, it got a little harder. I've been finding it helpful to write poems with more strict structure and rhyming recently, though. So I decided just to try it. Let's have every group of lines have 1 more syllable per line. I tried to keep the rhyming structure really strict, but I couldn't think of good rhymes for some of what I was trying to get across. So in places, the rhymes were pretty loose. But mostly, I knew what I wanted to say, and it was just a question of finding the right words to say it.
I could tell that you worked on the structure for this one. It was much more formal and strict than usual for you. It made it feel very serious, although that could also just be the subject matter.
Speaking of the subject matter, I mean, I appreciate that you're using this song for this moment, but like this analysis of the poem is kind of like, I don't know, a little dry for what's supposed to be emotional. I don't know.
But Monica's definitely right. As with Sayori's poems, it's very easy to feel the pain and the joy, the blurred line between laughter and tears.
Thanks, Yuri. Natsuki steps over and lightly puts her hand on MC's arm.
You know, MC, she's going to be okay. Especially since she's got you around to look after her. But you better not break her heart or else you'll have to answer to the rest of us.
Hey, there's no reason to talk about breaking anyone's heart.
There totally is. Even though your poem was grim as shit, it proves that you care about her.
Wow, inspiring, eh? Were you just the one yelling at us not to read too much personal stuff into poems? And of course I care about her. I'm her friend.
No, I meant more than that, buddy. I meant that you... like her.
I never said that. She's not my girlfriend. Why not?
Of course she's not.
Come on, guys. This is really important. I care a lot about Sayori. For the last time there were any weird feelings like what you're talking about, well, you know. You guys promise not to tell Sayori about the poem or this conversation? I'm really worried the poem might upset her, or at least just be kind of disruptive for her. And I really don't want her to be suddenly surprised by you guys telling her you think I have feelings for her either.
Your secret is safe with me. I won't say anything.
She's gonna tell. Well, that's kind of ominous.
My silence can be bought. For the right price.
Yeah? What price?
Natsuki whispers something to MC's ear.
Well, that's not so bad, I guess.
Shoot, I should have asked for more if that's what you think. Be cautious in bargaining with Natsuki, MC. It's like making a deal with a trickster spirit. You may find that the bargain has unexpected downsides. Stay out of this, you! So how about it, MC?
It's a deal!
So be it. The agreement is made.
Blah! Blah!
I warned you.
I'm okay.
Can I ask you a question, MC? I asked everyone to write a poem about recent events. So far, all of us have written poems that are basically about how we feel about the truth of things. But yours was entirely focused on your awful experience with Sayori.
Well, that was terrible. I know. I'm not minimizing it. I know it was probably extremely traumatic. And I know that it was my fault. And I'm sorry again for putting you and her through that. But I guess my question is, was it really so awful that it's taking up more headspace than the problem with the fundamental nature of our reality? Yes. Or I guess the reality thing doesn't seem as important. It's hard to say that the other thing was so traumatic when it's sort of been undone. But it did make me realize some stuff, and I guess that's what the poem is about. Everything else just doesn't matter so much, at least right now. I'm sure I'll probably freak out about it later. But for now, yeah, I guess my thoughts are just elsewhere. I see. I'll go get Sayori now. Don't want to keep her waiting too long. Did I say something wrong? I don't think so. Monika's just trying to cope with her own emotions about things. In walk Monika and a very chilly-looking Sayori.
Okay, I'm back. Shucks, did I miss MC's poem? Well, he can just show me later, I guess. Unless he happens to forget. Which he could very conveniently do.
Okay. Yes, I think the point has been,
Your turn now, Natsuki. The Vice President commands it.
And also, Natsuki's the only one left. Natsuki reluctantly hands her poem over. It doesn't matter. Everything is fake. Not a single moment is real. It's all been a sham, and always will be. So it doesn't matter, right? All the awful pain, the horror of knowing the truth, the fear of what's real, what we truly are, it doesn't matter, right? They are all fake. All those worlds above or below, but they are still real, if you can feel them. So it doesn't matter, right? If my friends are fake, they are still real if I love them. Whatever this is, it's all that matters. The rest, it doesn't matter. Right? I'm afraid you guys get too excited.
Eeeeee! Natsuki, you're so sweet!
Can I just say really quickly how much I appreciate this poem? It's almost having an argument with someone off the page, but it's so friendly and warm about it. It's very therapeutic. She said something. He agrees with it, whatever. But I agree! It's good to know that no matter what is happening or what weird philosophical quandaries you have something real with the people around you in the form of your own feelings about them. Now then! You're not going to interrupt too, Yuri? You have my undivided attention. I was going to say, before you guys get too excited, I'm not trying to creep you out or anything. You guys are definitely my best friends and all. Just don't go thinking I'm super needy or dependent, okay? It's not like I need you guys to survive. I just am really glad you're around is all. Now, Yuri, were you going to say anything? Okay, Sundare. You get back here! Well, here we go again. I'm going to go wrangle them. Will you get the email questions ready in the meantime, Sayori?
You got it, Chief!
Crash.
I am not a Thunder!
Oh my. Yes, you are.
I'm not!
You literally started a sentence with, it's not like I... So you definitely are.
Stop running so I can explain to you why I'm not!
Natsuki, stop throwing things. I am not cleaning this up.
Now let's try to figure out this whole email situation.